All right, guys, so we're going to talk about scaling your OnlyFans agency. This is part of a larger series. You can get the link down below. It's part of a 3-part series. This is part 2, scaling your OnlyFans agency. Remember, the Telegram group, it's free to join. Link down below. There's no gatekeeping. Enjoy the video. All right, welcome back. So we're going to do section 2, scale, traffic, automation, delegation, finance. As my New York guys who are extraordinarily poor, there is no one poorer than a finance bro. Don't let the $1,200 Patagonia vest fool you. Now, section 2. So in section 1, we built the engine, right? Models compliant, splits locked in, or they're salaried. The vault is loaded. Now, the question is how, Uncle Spencer, please tell us, how do we send 10,000 willing simps to the slaughter? All right, so section 2 scale, okay? I may have to adjust that sun later. I'll call Helios, have him do it for me. Section 2, once the foundation is set, how do we get going? How do we get scaling, right? So AI chatting architecture, that's what we're going to be covering here. 2027 traffic overview, very high level, and there's a very nice Telegram channel pivot as well that you can use for additional traffic. The timeline of scaling, the Trough, so remember I was talking about that earlier. Streamlining and the shiny object trap. Where is the next one here? Building the delegation team or buying back your time. KPI and scaling the math. Remember, we're going to be talking with my wife again. Also diagnosing bottlenecks. That was a big thing I forgot to mention actually in the first one here. I'm going to talk about that heavy. Next, in-house operations, or else bringing, and again, another aspect I didn't talk about that before was actually the threat it poses to you having an outside contractor and how that can hurt your business or corrupt it. In-house operations, and then offshoring your financing, killing the number one capital drain. So again, offshoring basically comes down to saving money on taxes, right? The big old Uncle Sam. And I'm not an American, so please don't take me too seriously on this. And then finally, the agency roll-up or the Gordon Bizarre M&A mergers and acquisition strategy, where I will also be making fun of finance bros. So let's talk about AI chatting architecture. Automations, the golden rule, the state of the game, the softwares I endorse, the softwares I use. And once again, guys, so much of this free in the Telegram group down below. And just a little preface, I'm not going to endorse any particular software here. I will tell you exactly what I'm using currently in the group. I don't want to benefit some SaaS owner or something by saying I'm using their piece and then that changes, because then it's like a permanent endorsement, and I will never give you a permanent endorsement unless you're Cheese Whiz. So I love Cheese Whiz. It's America's finest product. Now, there's an elephant in the room, all right, and that's AI. Okay, everybody thinks you can just run AI chatters. That's true to an extent, okay? Now let me tell you how I do it. When I have a new model, a big part of the chatters are AI, okay? Because again, AI is good at a step. First of all, there's two different things. If you inherit a model or purchase an existing model, you're going to need to get all that chatting data. You're going to need to feed it through a model. You're going to need to strain it. I call it straining it, because you have to take the crap out. You know when you make craft dinner and you boil the pasta and then you put it in a strainer and you drain the water out and then you add the butter and the cheese sauce and the mix and the milk and all that shit and then you stir it and then you end up with KD? That's what you have to do. Okay, so if you're inheriting a model with existing chatting data, please, for the love of God, strain the data, filter the data. I don't recommend buying data packs. There's a lot of guys out there right now selling chatting data packs, like .md files where you can train an AI on that. I dislike that intensely because my chatting is infinitely better than almost anyone I know. I know one guy who probably chats better than me, but he also doesn't leave his bedroom. So next, again, this is the golden rule. AI never touches the whales. Okay? I should have opened with that. I apologize. Not to you, to myself. AI never touches the whales. I don't care what it is. Your whales, listen, a whale is not 1 in a million. I think statistically it's like 1 in 1,300 or something. I think it's technically less, but it's very, very rare to have a whale. And I'd say probably 1 in 300 or 400. And whales to me are 5-figure spenders. All right, at minimum. So they start at 5-figure spenders and then go up. Listen, an AI should never touch a whale. Please just get that through your thick skulls. I don't care where you're at right now. Never let an AI touch a whale, because first of all, they can tell once that trust is broken. It's very difficult to rebuild it, if you can even rebuild it at all. These are people paying for a connection. That's what matters to them, okay? So please, for the love of God, AI doesn't touch the whales. Now, 2027 meta, like, and again, I have a blurb written out here. So it's AI for the strictly repetitive, high volume, low friction, right? You're going to use it for instant welcome sequences. Basically, it's low ticket mass PPV setups. It's intent. And again, guys, I really, really want to stress, if you go down to the group, you can see exactly what I'm doing and how I do it. I don't really like saying it here, because the fact of the matter is my stuff changes, and I don't want to be associated with one strategy that didn't work with someone. I've been on YouTube so long, guys. I've had reputation in business for so long. I know what I'm doing, but also I don't like being locked in. It's like, again, all of my major hub and tube sites I run on custom built software, but I endorsed KVS, kernel video sharing system, once, and that's so complicated and so buggy and so problematic. So again, check the Telegram group. Okay. Now, AI is used for separating wheat from the chaff, and there's different types of wheat. You know what? I can't use this farmer. A diamond in the rough diamonds. Okay. So you go into the deserts of Namibia and you sift the sands and you pull out loose diamonds, right? And then you need to further separate those diamonds from the rocks you picked up. Okay? That's what AI is. AI is scooping in the sand, picking up the rocks and the diamonds, all right? And then actual dedicated chatters are separating diamonds from rocks. Does that make sense to you? Because it makes sense to me. And if you don't get it, just re-listen to it, because let me tell you, my analogies are fucking bangers, but they're for people who've actually done things in life with their hands. Now, golden rule. I say AI shouldn't touch whales, but you can actually go a little bit further, and this is a consensus I've had with some of the people in my really high-level operator groups. The AI should not touch the top 5% of spenders. Because, your whales are paying for authentic, like, deep, parasocial connections. Okay? And if a $3,000+ a month gets a hallucinated AI response, that's the end of the world, guys, okay? Whales, they're high touch. They're high maintenance. And high maintenance, you're well paid for that high maintenance. It's like a Ferrari, right? Yeah, it costs money to own. I know, because my bookmark right there, Ferrari issue. Worst vehicle in the world. Absolute worst. Don't even have a driver's license. Still the worst vehicle ever. I don't buy cars for people. What else? So, again, guys, I got a little disclaimer here reminding me, Spencer, don't name a software. I'm not going to name a software, okay? Software I use, I have a custom built software, but the softwares that I recommend to you, I'm going to put them in the group down below, okay? So again, free Telegram group. But the problem is, big problem is too, hallucination. All right, AIs will hallucinate. They always fucking hallucinate. I can't stand it. Doesn't matter how good it is. Even some of the systems I built, and I'm basically AI native. That's why you hadn't seen me for 2-3 years, because I disappeared. I did crypto for a year, and then the last 2 years I've been doing AI. I'm one of the most high level AI people I know, and when I say high level, I mean because I'm not theory, I'm practice. That's what my AI is. So again, you want to learn about that? I talk about it in the group, and it's just again, one more thing. This .ai gets me access to a lot of circles, particularly around AI. And I'm always the one doing dirt. I'm always the one doing 18+ stuff. And everybody always wants to talk to me, because at the end of the day, the spicy business is the most innovative business in the world. And everything flows downhill from us, from credit card processing to video streaming to robotics. It all starts with the most base of human desires, and that is sexuality. So, number 2, the 2027 traffic engine, a high level summary. Now, this section 2, section 1 was 30 straight minutes, right? Section 2, I'm probably aiming for about 20-ish, because I'm not going to spend 45 minutes walking you step by step, all right, here on YouTube. Traffic is a moving target, guys. Please understand that. Traffic, it's a bloody moving target. What worked on TikTok works on fucking Instagram. What works on your fucking Nan's Twitter account ain't going to work 6 months from now, or it'll get algorithmically suppressed tomorrow, or it'll change. Traffic is fluid. Like American... Oh, I want to make this joke, but I can't. God damn! I want to make this joke, but I can't. Is the mic still working? Okay, good. Anyway. At a high level, your traffic ecosystem is going to look like this, guys. First of all, you're going to have short form organic. What is that? That's TikTok. That's Reels. That's Shorts. And that doesn't matter if it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, what is it, Redbee or Weibo or whatever. There's a Chinese one we're doing really well on. There was a Russian one we were also doing really well on. Yandex or what is it? I can't remember. It's like the Russian Facebook, but we were killing it on that, right? Reddit and niche forums. So high intent, ready to buy traffic. Now, look, Reddit's a great source of traffic. I personally dislike Reddit intensely. I call Reddit like the 5-figure widowmaker, because with Reddit, like, it's very easy to get up to like 20 to 30 to 40K a month with a model, and then you just get comfortable, and then Reddit changes and you're fucked and you got to relearn it, and it's a bitch. And you don't build a moat, you don't do tubes, you don't do absolutely anything, right? It's super, super, super painful. So again, what I'm working on right now is in the group. Mother slave networks. I hate mother slave networks. Okay. And the reason I hate them is because the mother slave networks are here, right? And then owning your own phone farms are here. You want to own the farm, right? Otherwise, you're just a tenant farmer. You're just an Irish peasant during the potato famine, and I'm Queen Victoria collecting your rent. It doesn't matter. Okay. I hate mother slave networks because you're always one tier below the guy who's making serious money, and he's the one who owns the phone farms. So we actually had a special guest come in, and this was in one of my groups, and he taught everyone how to build phone farms. And I love a phone farm. I'm not going to talk about phone farms, but I love phone farms. And it's because, again, with a mother slave, you're a step down and you're still inheriting all the problems of the guy who's a step up. And I just like that immensely. So that's something. Brand building honestly helps you to not have to do that, because then you could do something as simple as the WAP clipping method, right? So let's go to cross-platform funneling. Okay. Now, look, I myself, like my 3,000 plus subscribers here on YouTube at the time of writing this video, of making this video in the year of our Lord 2026, August 7th, I share a huge part of those with my Telegram group, right? I have about, I don't know how many people in the Telegram, a few thousand. Anyway, that's like a cross-platform funnel, right? Now, cold traffic off social media into an asset like a Telegram or a Twitter account before asking for an OnlyFans sale, you're effectively siphoning off the traffic. Now, is that a fair business practice? No. Is it a common business practice? I see it every day. But we're going to talk about that more in the exits and sales section. So again, if you want like real-time standard operating procedures for traffic, posting schedules, proxy setups, shadow ban fixes, algorithmic workarounds we're testing weekly, this stuff lives inside the Telegram group, because the Telegram group is current. This video is static. I'm sorry. I know you're expecting me to say important shit about traffic. Guys, I'm not going to sit here, put methods up, and then have people say, oh, Spencer doesn't know what he's talking about. That method doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't fucking work because you're watching this in fucking December, and I posted this in August. That's why, you bloody morons. So, timeline of scale, or the trough of sorrow. This is a big one, guys. This is a big one, the trough of sorrow. So before we go any further, this is what I was talking about, death of salesman earlier, right? So I want to talk about these rookie agency owners, like these guys that quit too early, or they get comfortable too early. Because quitting and getting comfortable too early, these are the same things to me. Just because you're making $10,000 a month, you're comfortable, you're doing $40,000 a month on Reddit, whatever. Maybe you got 1-2 models. Hey, if you're not scaling, you're quitting. All right. Now, if you're at $1 million a month net profit, okay, that's good. I know a lot of owners who are at that level. I know a lot of guys who are operating at that level. I mean, my rents alone for my property portfolio is getting to that level. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. But at the end of the day, because $1 million a month, it's really not a lot of money, guys. I'm sorry. It's just not a huge amount of money. You'll never see me with a watch on my wrist. I do not wear watches. All right. I don't like watches. I don't like cars. I like amassing portfolios. I like wealth building. That's my thing. All right. Now, especially in the spicy segment, because the growth here is infinite, my scale is infinite. And again, a big part of why I do this, funnel into Telegram and then soft price, right? I am an AI guy. You have to understand, that's where the big money is going forward, AI. So, timeline of scale, right? Just don't give up on your 60 to 90 day eating dirt, testing, burning through dating app accounts, whatever method you're doing. Because if you're watching this, I can tell you right now, going from 10,000 to 50,000 happens incredibly fast. What's difficult is maintaining that 50,000 every single month. Because as soon as you dip down to 48,000, that's fine, right? But it's dipping down to 35, then 23, then 13. And your lifestyle has inflated so much in the meantime that you are actually fucked. All right? Now, I'm trying to unfuck you here. Let me pull the fuck out of you, right? Let's unfuck you. So, one moment. Anyway, so back to what I was saying of getting unfucked. What you have to do is not fall into the trough of sorrow. Because again, it's very easy to go from 10 to 50K. And what I'm telling you right now is it's more difficult to maintain. You have to make sure you're able to maintain. It's easy. Anybody can hit a home run once, but to hit a home run consistently, anybody can be, the drafty who does a first home run in his first game. Everyone thinks it's going to be amazing, but he's no Barry Bonds. He's no A-Rod. He's no Rod Carew. He's none of these people, right? I don't know anything about baseball, but I assume those guys are good because I know who they are. Anyway, you got to be able to be a repeat hitter. I can't tell you how many guys go and they spend they earn $50,000 when they used to earning 10. They spend $40,000, and then all of a sudden, I hate dogs. And then all of a sudden, call me a Muslim. And then all of a sudden, their lifestyle costs $30,000 a month. They can't afford it. Your favorite guru in Miami, probably the same type of guy. You know, it's funny, when I leave a property, I typically sell it, and then I get accused of losing it by idiots online who've never seen someone who has the capital to have multiple properties or to like flip houses and stuff. It's very entertaining to me. Now, streamlining and the shiny object trap. All right, so when agency owners hit their first 20 to 30K, get bored. They hear about a new underground dating software. They hear about a new phone farming method. They hear about a new traffic method. They hear about a new paid platform. They abandon their core system. They run off and they go test something else that isn't proven, that isn't bringing the bread in. Now, I cannot stress to you enough. My God, my hair is beautiful. But I can't stress to you enough. Look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Why are you changing everything up? Why are you fucking everything up? You have to maintain, okay? If you are running a successful restaurant and the bay next door to you, the commercial bay, it's a unit, we call it. The empty space, I gotta remember, sorry guys, I understand not all of you know anything about life or construction or real estate. Again, please forgive me, I'm 31, but I was operating at this level at 21. The amount of scale I do in 1 year is greater than most people's lives. And that's my problem. So I'm trying to dumb everything down, all right? So if you're running a successful restaurant, if you're running a successful Subway, don't grow and lease the bay next door and start doing fine dining right away, because those are fundamentally different business concepts. Just because they're both food doesn't mean anything, right? Just because you have Reddit working here doesn't mean you should jump over and invest every dollar into paid ads on Traffic Star or something else. Just needed to focus on me, because and then you abandon Reddit and then you lose everything. That's stupid, guys. Please avoid the shiny object trap. Look, scaling in 2027, it's about doing the boring work, okay? And it's about doing it well. That's the thing. It's about streamlining, all right? So if you have a funnel right now, let's say it's Instagram Reels to Twitter to OF, and that's printing money, you don't break it. Please don't break it, all right? Instead of finding that brand new, like super complex traffic source, figure out how to increase your conversion rate first. Okay, you need to squeeze 80% of the dollars you can out of your current traffic source, because right now I guarantee you're probably squeezing only 50%. You probably don't have any SOPs for remembering clients' whales' birthdays, events. You're probably not even putting enough events of your own out there, right? Like half my models, I think they've graduated college 14 times. Not each, of course, but you know. Events, right? I can't tell you how much not posting for a day, coming back saying the dog died, increases the bottom line. I cannot tell you how much, and of course the dog actually did die. That's the thing. It's unfortunate, but the dog really did die, guys. It's Brazil, you know. People get, it's less tragic when a person dies of a moped accident than your damn dog. But listen, I guarantee you, if I walked into your agency right now, if you bought consulting from me, if I walked into your agency right now, I would look at you and I would say, okay, you're doing really good, but right now, assuming zero change in traffic over the next 90 days, I could increase revenue by 30 to 50% just with this boom, 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 and boom. Because most people aren't doing anything. I mean, look, guys, I've got models stake partnerships. The stuff that I've been involved in at such a high level, it's absolutely ridiculous. And again, a lot of it's detailed in the group. And it's very easy to do that. Everyone has a stake partnership. Oh, that's not special, Spencer. No, it's not. But I did it 2 years ago. About 2 years ago. Back when they were still pretty new. That's the difference between me and everybody else. I'm leveraging outside sources of revenue to increase the dollars on systems that are already so streamlined and so optimized, you'd think it was a Rube Goldberg machine in its perfection. I have come up with perpetual motion machines for resource for dollar extraction from simps. I am like a god at this, and I detail a lot of it in the Telegram group. Check it out. Now, building the delegation team, replacing yourself. This is about buying back your time. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you a little story here about how Uncle Spencer is effectively a dictator from the 1930s, and not the one with the mustache that was this big, but the mustache that was this big. I am like a Soviet, right? I'm putting out 5-year plans. I'm doing everything on a grand scale. I mean, I'm displacing 100 million peasants and starving them to death. I'm selling the grain for parachute silk so I can do my own version of Operation Barbarossa. Dear God, these references are far too advanced for any of you. My God, if you get them, congratulations. I want to shake your hand. You'd have to buy me a drink first, though. I'm basically a prostitute for a gin and tonic. But building the delegation team, replacing yourself, guys, you can't. First of all, I don't care how good you are of an operator, you're not that good because you can only be in one place at one time. Take it from a guy who comes from a commercial construction family. You can be the best at every trade in the entire world. You can be the best at concrete. You can be the best at drywall. You can be the best at framing. You can be the best forklift operator, #certified. You can be the best at everything, but you can't be on the forklift while you're pouring concrete, while you're cutting sheetrock, while you're unloading a lift at the truck, while you're at the Tim Hortons getting the crew coffee. You can't do all that. You have to be able to delegate, guys. You have to be able to delegate. If you can't delegate, you can't scale. I don't care who you are. The only people who don't need to delegate are typically crypto scammers. Malone Lamb didn't need to delegate, but look where he ended up. You know what I mean? So, the delegation team. If you're still setting up accounts, editing clips, chatting in the DMs at 3 a.m., you don't own a business, you own an exhausting job, and you have to delegate. I wrote that line myself. I hate it because there's no F words in it, but it's the truth. So, this is the delegation hierarchy, okay? And this applies to pretty much anyone at any level, but again, it applies to you if your girlfriend and you are doing 50,000 a month and you have one chatter, or you're doing all the chatters, or it applies to you if you have 50 chatters, 100 girls, and you've got the most horizontal agency I've ever seen, which I would hate. I hate horizontal agencies. So, tier 1, your chatters. So these are frontline workers. They're managing the general inbox, operating 1,000 base pay, roughly 10% commish, whatever. We established this in section 1, all right? So that's the first delegation you do effectively, right? Because remember, as a manager, your actual first delegation is the model creating content, right? And she should upload it herself. They should upload it themselves. They should do that, right? You could just have them upload it blindly, but honestly, they should organize it a little bit better. But anyway, the real one is the chatters, right? Now you're not chatting. Okay, great. Now, what's tier 2? Because everyone can do tier 1, but what's tier 2? Oh, and by the way, tier 1 can be some AI as well. Big deal, all right? Tier 2, content funnel operations, all right? These are dedicated virtual assistants, right? These people are doing the auto posting. And again, there's softwares for this, right? It's nothing, but you still have to set up the software, right? So do you want to be doing that, setting up the software? Do you want to be feeding it? Because all of this still needs to be delegated. One competent Filipino is worth 50 times their weight in gold, okay? One competent person is worth 500 times their weight in gold. That's the real thing here. And people say, oh, automate this, automate that. Yeah, and what happens when it fucking breaks at 3 a.m. and you're asleep? Or what happens if you're out to dinner with your family and it breaks? You're in the bloody movie theater watching the new goddamn Harry Potter. Snape is black. Who the hell knows? I don't know anymore. But you need competent people. You don't have a competent human being. I can't fucking go pick up my phone, ring, 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 ring. Hello? Yeah, this is Spencer's assistant, and I got a lot of those fucking things. Let me tell you, who wants my attention? Can't do it. Anyway, dear God, you need people. You need an executive assistant. It makes your life so much easier. So I used to have a Virtu phone, right? This is just the Galaxy 7 Fold, but I used to have a Virtu phone. That was a $10,000 phone back 5 years ago, and it came with there was a button on the side. It was a ruby button, and it had an executive assistant out of London, and they got me anything they want. That was the best thing I ever had, and I only use that for luxury stuff, right? I've had executive assistants in my business for as long as I can bloody remember. Can you just focus on me, you piece of shit camera? There we are. Poetry. Now, I think it's just the sun, guys. I apologize. But anyway, then finally, tier 3. This is where you get to like the CEO level. This is where you hire like a dedicated CEO. And this is where you truly take your hands off the business and you become like a wealthy old white man. Regardless of your race or gender, you want to become a wealthy old white man. That is the goal. I am wealthy and I am white, but I am not old. So I'm getting there though. Naturally, I'll get there. See, my progression is a little simpler, but you can be a Black American. You can be a Chinese from Hawaii. You can be a Nigerian who for some reason is from Sweden. You can be a wealthy white man. That is the goal. We all want to be country club old white men, right? You can be a former playmate. You can be a former chapita from Mexico, you know? And you can be an old white man. That's the goal here. We want to be all old white men. So the chatter manager, operations lead, CEO. This is the person that effectively replaces you. And this is the most difficult person to hire because at this level, they are effectively making decisions that you would make. All right. Now they should be running them by you for permission, and they should always be justifying. They should always have, when I ask my people to, and I'm not going to call them CEO because they're not a CEO, right? I call them an OP, an OM, an operations manager, right? Like a CMO, chief manager, chief operations manager, whatever. I just call them managers. Anyway, so I have a Wendy. I tell her, Wendy, and Wendy makes a lot of money. And I say, Wendy comes to me, right? She says, Spencer, I want to do this. And she'll tell me the overarching idea why, and then the pros of this idea, and then the cons of this idea. And then at the bottom, it's basically a blank space where I make my decision, right? And we go back and forth, etc. But you need a Wendy. It's very important, gentlemen, ladies as well. You need a Wendy. Now, I talk more extensively about this actually in the group and how I structure that. But this is a really important thing, this delegation video, and it's going to deserve a video on its own. So check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Oh, first time I mentioned that. Also, like, subscribe. You know, I'm going to do that. It's all going to be perfect. I'm going to make a beautiful video on that. By the time you watch this, it'll definitely probably be out. So KPIs and the scaling math. All right. So top tier agencies, we scale on math, right? We don't scale on feelings. You know, we need evidence. We need a solid reason to make the decision. 1 second. All right, so we're looking at the lifetime value. We're looking at the average revenue per user. We're looking at the PPV unlock rates. We're looking at every damn metric, every bloody thing you can possibly imagine. Oh, and by the way, you know what we do? We take all of this and we feed it into one of our offline LLMs, to one of our AIs. And I say offline because your operational security with AI is very important. I can't tell you how many SaaS out there are industry specific, especially in OF, affiliate, etc., where it's like, hey, download your data, upload it here. Guess what they're doing with that data? They're harvesting it. They're going to know all your campaigns. They're going to know all your models. They're going to know everything. It's a little bit of operational security for you. And I shouldn't tell you this because I indirectly benefit from this. Obviously, I don't criminally take people's data. But I would always recommend putting your stuff into an offline LLM. Always. Never put it online. You don't want to be... Stop self-snitching, okay? Bruce Rivers, criminal lawyer on YouTube. CLR. Bruce Rivers, CLR. Stop self-snitching, okay? But you shouldn't be giving away that data anyway. I mean, I can talk about integrity and data breaches and the privacy rights and CAN spam, and I can talk about this till I'm blue in the face. I'm not going to. What I'm trying to say is that we need to examine all the metrics. You got to run the numbers, right? Did you run the numbers? Run the numbers. You got to run the numbers. That's all that bloody matters. Look, this is boobies or something, probably. Damn, that's so close. Anyway, you got to run the damn numbers. We operate on facts, not feelings. And this is where people fuck up because you take the information you get, you run it through. And what I like to do is I like to run it through month by month. And then I ask the AI, I say literally very simply, I add it all together. I put it in. I say, based on your analysis on the monthlies, so each individual monthly analysis, how do you feel about the year? And I need you to predict 3 scenarios going forward. And I have what I call the analysis and prediction method in the group, which again, link down below, where you can go and you can see, right? And this is a very important thing. It really is. It's just... The insights, look, people hire me for consulting all the time to look at their data. I just end up feeding it through my AI because at the end of the day, my AI is so well trained. It's like the Spencer inferior, right? It's like my second brain. And I recommend you do this. And I have a standard operating procedure for how to do this in the group, okay? I do. It's not a difficult thing to do. I just want you guys to fully understand what you're doing with it and how you need to do it. Okay. So, you know what? I don't even want to talk about that any further because I have a video and a section in the group detailing that so well. You guys can find it there. Now, in-housing operations and margin control. Okay. First and foremost, this is a big part of your exits. Okay. This is a big part of your exits. And you know what? Actually, let me just rewind for 1 minute. So going back to KPIs and the scaling, facts, not feelings, that's very important as well because it's going to help you establish a pattern of business behavior for the new buyer and as well as business lifetime prediction, right? Revenue prediction for the future for the buyer, which is, again, guys, incredibly important. So please keep track of your numbers, know your numbers, please, guys. And just remember that software you're plugging in, it also knows your numbers. They know everything. And I know because I've sold a few of them. And also I have a brain in my head. So in-housing operations, margin control. This is very important. All right. Now, in the beginning, you can outsource everything, right? You can use external chatting, taking 30% of your gross, 10%, whatever. Monthly SaaS fees, you buy from outside vendors, you lose all your data, you lose control of everything. You are a pig with 40 spears, and everyone holding the spear is another Amazonian tribesman taking an ounce of your blood, all right? Everyone has a finger in your pie. And maybe that's your thing, but it sure as shit isn't mine. So when you scale, guys, margin is everything, right? Every external service you have, it's bleeding your net profit. It really is. To truly scale, guys, you got to bring it in house. You do. There's no choice. Okay. You build your own internal team, salaried chatters. You hire an in-house video editor, flat monthly salary. And again, the AI video editing, I dislike the AI video editing. You know who I hired to do my editing? A team of gooners, like straight up gooners. These people are straight up D-gen gooners. Gooning. That's what they do. They goon. I don't get it. I do not get it. But remember, we're all positive people, and your life doesn't impact mine so long as the profits keep flowing and the labor keeps working. That is what I care about. Next. So, blah, blah, blah. 100K gross, you go from losing 20K on expenses, and you can put that back in your pocket. Because the thing is, you have to trim the fat, right? You got to trim the fat. It's very important, you know? Because the thing is, like, you are not Prometheus stealing fire and giving it to the humans. We're not tricking Zeus, right? But the important thing is, when a buyer looks at the agency, and this is how I actually get some buyers deals, I'll say, like, hey, look, that I know that guy's overpaying on chatting. This is what makes me so powerful as a broker, because I know that guy's overpaying on chatting. So what has to happen is this, right? You can buy this agency and you can put another 5% in your pocket by bringing a chatting team in-house. I can consult on that and help you. And this is only some advice I give after I've already told the original seller, hey, you can get another 5 to 10% in your net profit, and therefore a higher valuation based on that. Because again, if your business is worth $1.2 million and I can save you 10%, that business is now worth $1.32 million because we added another $120,000 worth of value, right? 10% of 1.2 million is 120,000. 1.2 million plus 120,000 is 1.32 million, right? I actually dropped out of high school, and yet I have more maths ability than almost anybody I know. I'm actually quite brilliant, but that's just because my IQ is like 17,000, and I still have a personality, which is a deadly combination. I'm also very lazy, though. That's why I'm not a billionaire, but I will be soon. Now, you hire an in-house video editor, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I write this as if like I'm speaking, because I should just put bullet points. I wrote this one weird for some fucking reason. So, look, you gotta in-house it, because also the thing is too, I like control. I'm a control freak in a lot of ways. I like control. It's not that I can't delegate, but I need to be within my own organization. That's why I have no external vendors in any of my operations. I built all my own softwares. All my data stays in-house. No one knows who my models are. My attorneys are on the take at a percentage basis. I have retained basically every attorney in our industry to an extent, so nobody can come around and sue me. I am so offshore, it's not even funny. It's just, I bulletproof SOPs. And again, I detail a lot of that stuff down in the group. We're already on 32 minutes for this. How many points do I have left? I have 2 points: offshoring your finances, and then the agency roll-up M&A strategy. So let's go into the second point here, because the in-house operating margins, that I can do, that's pretty basic. Let's just go back to let's go to the next point. Offshoring, basically, guys, I just want to save you fucking money. I want to give you more control. I want to save you more money, and I want you to be able to do things better. Because how do you know? Your chatter team could be telling you they're the best in the world, and for all you know, they're fucking leaving 15% on the table. And let me tell you about Uncle Spencer. He doesn't leave jack shit on the table. I don't leave fuck all on the table. I eat everything. It goes on my fucking plate. All right, and then I eat it. So, offshoring your finances, killing the number one capital drain. This is a big thing, all right? Now, there's 2 types of buyers: domestic and offshore. Domestic are American, local. Offshore is everyone else, anywhere else. I don't give a damn where you are. Now, I am not a tax attorney, right? I am not an attorney of any kind. I am not an accountant. I am unable to give you particular advice on your particular strategy right off the bat. But what I can tell you is that offshoring is something that's seen as mythical or criminal. It's not. It's very legal. It's all legal. I guarantee you, every member of your parliament, every member of your Congress, every member of your Senate, every local member of parliament, every representing every riding or whatever you are, they all offshore their money. Every businessman, everyone offshores their money. I mean, what is it? Apple has that double Dutch Irish sandwich thing where their IP is licensed out of Ireland. Who gives a fuck? But let me tell you this. You have to analyze your current situation and ask yourself, how much are you giving Uncle Sam? How much are you giving the tax man? How much would you save by either moving, by going somewhere else, okay? When my ancestors left Europe 400 years ago, there was nothing for them there. When I left Canada 10 years ago, I will never go back. There's nothing for me there. You know what I mean? And it's not because it's a bad country. I don't even know what it's like anymore, but it's because it's too cold. I don't like it. I did my time there, and it's time to go other places. So now I split my time between Europe, Asia, Central America. I do a bunch of other places, and I'm not living a third world lifestyle either. My lifestyle, like when I was living in Miami, I still spend 6 months out of the year in Miami, but I don't do that. I can only stay 6 months. I stay like 5 months really, because I don't want to become an American tax resident, because it'll fuck me, because then I'll be paying Uncle Sam. And why? All right. Now, a common thing too, I want you to understand, like the tax situation doesn't really affect the valuation of the business when you go to sell. Because I mean, it can. If you have a pure offshore structure, that's a lot more valuable to an American buyer, to an offshore buyer. If you have a tax-free setup, like let's say your models are Brazilian, they're being paid out in crypto or something, or you've got a Colombian Paxum setup. There's a lot of different setups, a lot of different architectures. Guys in the webcam business, they make a lot of money with this. But let's say you've got that set up. Okay, that can be very, very, very enticing to a buyer, right? And hey, great, you know. But the fact of the matter is, it's just about saving you money. And that's what I'm talking about. So I actually have a few standard SOPs, some structure. See how many times I'm saying that? Standard operating procedure, right? So again, saying standard SOP, it's a double negative. But anyway, fuck you. What I'm trying to say is I have up-to-date and current information in the group about that. Free to join down below. And it's really just about finding people who are going to be honest with you. That's just about it, right? Who are going to act in your best interest. And you have to be honest with them. I can't tell you how many guys I know doing $1 million a month and they want to offshore, but then they go and tell the accountant they're doing 100,000 a month because they're scared to tell anyone they're doing $1 million a month. Because most of you probably aren't paying your taxes anyways, right? It's just not a good situation. But anyway, I don't want to go too in depth on that because we could talk about Panama, we could talk about Hong Kong. I guarantee you not one of you knows what Labuan is. I've been in Labuan since 2012. Labuan, little island in Malaysia. B Wong, Labuan. And that was a name, by the way, a woman's name, B Wong. So I believe she's retired now, but she got me started, and I appreciate her for everything. Now let's move on to number 9. This is the final point in section 2. Before we move on to section 3, sell, the exit strategy, and the big payday. So number 9, the agency roll-up, the mergers and acquisition strategy. So again, I've made millions of dollars brokering in this business on top of the money I've already made actually working in this business. A brokering was just a side thing for me because I knew everybody, so why not connect everybody? Or at least everybody serious that I wanted to know. There's nothing worse than a tater tot knockoff. I've never liked those people. So the agency roll-up, the M&A strategy. So hardest part of good agency, signing good models. Wow, why the fuck did I write this? This looks like shit. Don't just recruit from Instagram anymore. You recruit from other... Anyway, listen. You want to fucking rapidly scale? You go and you buy some broccoli-headed Brickle Kids agency, and not because you like the agency. The agency is run like fucking shit. You know why it's good? Because he's got that one model. When you roll up an agency, and you do this M&A style, mergers and acquisition style, private equity style, a roll up, like BlackRock is rolling up trailer parks, right? So buy one trailer park, they buy another trailer park, all of a sudden they've got a trailer park portfolio of 10,000 trailers, and they're all paying rent. And yeah, the debt on the books is massive, but it doesn't matter. Now, they're getting actual valuations because that's a legit real business. This is OnlyFans. This is a joke most of the time, all right? So I've seen guys roll up chatting businesses just because they like the performance of 1 or 2 chatters. And maybe they only pay a multiple of 6 to 8 times. When I advise someone on rolling up another agency, I always advise them, hey, let me look at the kid who owns the agency. Typically, he's stupid. Okay, great. Offer him like 4 months in advance because I guarantee you he's terrified of being like 2 months away from blowing up his entire operation, right? Which is hilarious. Anyway, so you're typically either recruiting for either 1 or 2 people. That's the only reason they're rolling up that for only 1 or 2 people. That's the only reason. Because if they have some sort of traffic source or method, they're probably selling it as a course, let's be honest, and it probably doesn't work. Or if they have something like a tube site or some massive social account, or like if they own Red Gifts, for example, which is just a ridiculous example, that's a justified roll up. You know what I mean? But most of them do not. So you're buying for one particular thing. You need to evaluate. Can you even take that for one particular thing? Can you not just make a better offer? Can you not do what we do in the corporate world, which is called poaching? Can you not just poach? But the M&A strategy, it's a legit strategy. It's a great strategy, and you just want to offer them the absolute bottom dollar, 6 to 10 months roll up. And most people will take it because they haven't seen this video. They don't know what anything's worth. They got no idea. Sometimes I wonder, did I learn any of this, or am I just naturally intelligent? And I think it's the latter. But also, I did learn some things, I suppose, from myself. No, I'm just fucking with you. That's ego out of control. Call me Spenny Trump. Shrump. Now, guys, that about does it for section 2, scale. So, look, when you bring your operations in-house, streamlining your funnels, what else? Structuring your taxes offshore. You got to acquire some smaller agencies or a chatter here, or a model there. You're not just an OFM manager, right? You're running a little teeny tiny private equity playbook, a nano cap, which is sub 5 million, a nano cap private equity playbook. And that is what you're doing. And congratulations, by the way, because now you're ahead of the game, right? So let me end this video here, and we're going to go into section 3, sell, and right away here. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So, dear God, This is turning into a banger of a video. I think we're almost at like 2 hours.